Welcome to a Curator on location. This time we are at the exhibition in Amsterdam Geuzenveld, Weaving the Words, and soon we are meeting with the curator Pernille Lonstrup. And Pernille, I know you as an autonomic artist, and all the time throughout your art practice, words are somehow a key component of your art.
I think language is a basis that I always go back to in my art.
Yeah.
And the question of what language is and how we use it is always, in my practice, very important. And especially what happens to language when it transforms into something else.
Yeah.
Can it transform? How does it transform? And what does that transformation look like?
Yeah.
Is it body language, or is it hidden messages, or all these things I'm interested in?
Yeah. And normally you are busy with your own solo exhibitions or group,
Yeah.
when you're partner with somebody else, a curator. Yeah. But now you took on the sacred job of being a curator yourself.
Yeah, that was because I wanted to make an exhibition with women, specifically focusing on women. And that was because with the newspaper weavings that you can see hanging around, which is my work and which I've done over the last 2 years, and where I research weaving, I realized first of all how important weaving was for women as work, how important weaving was as a tool in the past for women to have a voice, to weave hidden messages into rugs, tapestries, and anything with textile, and also how important weaving was as a community tool to build a community where women would come and weave and be together and build a network. And I was very inspired by this, and this is what I missed when I was sitting in my studio in solitude and weaving with the paper. So I wanted to build an exhibition with women only, also because when we look at the art world today, women is underrepresented, and I wanted to give that space to other women. Yeah. And that's why I invited Isfrid, Angard, Sijehaug, Rosa, Smits, and Femke, Schaap to join me for this exhibition. Yeah. And all of them are working with weaving, or the idea of weaving in their own way. Yeah. Their own methodology. So Femke Schaap is, for instance, weaving with light, film and light. That's where she comes from. Rosa Smits is really you see it like hand weaver. Yeah. And Isfrid is also a weaver, but she's very inspired by history, and she works with language and poetry and textile. Yeah.
Well, some viewers, the very first video, now one of the very first videos that we made was about your weaving of English and Chinese newspapers. Yeah. And we put that also in the links soon. And what I see is that it really moved on. There is that kind of progress that I really liked. But also with the other artworks, it really makes a unity.
Yeah. I wanted to reflect, because the step I did from the newspaper weaving, which was really dismantling Chinese and English language, written language, down to the point of what they were, Chinese as image-based and English as sound-based. Yeah. This time I kind of worked with more dismantling language as a whole to build a new image, which is what you see here. That was my idea. And what I wanted was, I wanted that reflection on language in different ways. Mm. And through the art of textiles, for instance, with Rosa, she also works participatory, but she's very material has a point, intuition has a point, dyes, natural dyes has a point, and her action of weaving is language for her in itself, and that's also how she communicates when she works with participants to weave something.
And what I noticed with the silk screens of the Norwegian artist, her name, it's a little bit difficult for me, but it is both readable and unreadable.
Yeah, and it's a mirror. That we chose specifically, and we chose specifically for that because I think in both our works we work with the abstraction of language, and when language becomes nonsense. And I have a very hard approach to it, where I really dismantle language in order to build something new. And Isfrid has different approaches to it. So I thought that could be very interesting to have that different approach, and especially also because they're juxtaposed two of my works, and that was a specific choice.
Yeah, and about your own newspaper weavings, could you say that because now language and media are set people apart from each other, that by dismantling the language and the function of newspaper, that you are in that way building a community again, or?
I wouldn't say that's too romantic, I would say, because of course I'm well aware that I am destroying newspapers. And what does happen with what we call fake news, you know, and here I am using respectable newspapers, and I'm dismantling them and building into a completely different language or art as a language, actually. But I think it maybe not unconsciously, but it is also a reflection of the power of what language is, and also I think a lot of fake news is also, or that people believe in fake news is also powerless within a system. And for me, my interest in language, I'm well aware that it's because I'm dyslexic, and I think I learned to read and write very late in life, and that is sort of the issues I have, and why my practice keep on evolving around this of what language is and how do we use it.
And finally, what I noticed is that we are in a community building. And you're talking a lot about community. It must be a deliberate choice.
Yeah, it is definitely a deliberate choice. We have in front of the gallery space, we have the Pleinmode. This is Pleinkamer. And Pleinmode is a swap shop, a clothes swap shop. So people can come here and with a piece of clothes and swap it for something else.
Well, thank you for your hospitality. And well, if you like and subscribe this video, we will make more, of course. And well, see you next time.